worlds of the gods are realms of clarity, composed of consciousness, where the body is formed from subtle primary elements. The worlds of samsaric gods and the bodies of the beings inhabiting them are composed of the elements of fire, wind, and space, with no earth or water elements at all. Radiance dominates in their bodies, which is why many samsaric gods are depicted as shining, a result of the fire element being predominant in their composition. Above the realm of samsaric gods are various lokas, realms of higher gods. Rupaloka refers to the dimensions of deities with form, beings of light. Their bodies consist of light and emit radiance, and depending on their level of holiness, this radiance can be quite vast. Even the fire element is absent in their composition. That is, there is no earth, water, or fire, and consequently no bones, flesh, muscles, blood, lymphatic or circulatory systems, no secretions, no coarse lust, no hunger, no digestion. There is only subtle wind circulating through the nadis, energy channels of the astral body. All interaction occurs on the level of the wind element. This is a magical world, where mastery of consciousness through the wind element and informational interaction is key. In such worlds, two categories of beings reside. The first category includes those who reach these realms through merit and purification of consciousness, but have not attained enlightenment. They experience the fruits of their past merit, but will eventually be reborn, possibly on earth. This is because in such subtle worlds, it is impossible to accumulate further merit or develop consciousness without a sufficient level of awareness. Therefore, they must reincarnate in denser worlds for further evolution. They are consuming the fruits of previous merit, but these will eventually be exhausted. And because the illusions of subtle bodies have not been fully dispelled, their causal body still contains seeds, bijas, that require experiences in the gross material world. The second category consists of awakened, fully realized beings who are capable of continuing to develop their consciousness while residing in these subtle realms. They will never return to samsaric realms. Their consciousness and clarity are so refined that they can continue evolving without assuming a gross physical form. This is the fundamental difference between the two classes of celestial beings in these realms. Some beings may have had such experiences in past lives but lack the maturity of consciousness to ascend further without reincarnation. In such cases, elder spirit guides or deities recommend rebirth as a human, since that experience is often necessary for full awakening. Thus, they take physical bodies and eventually appear here, on earth. This ties into the three key experiences that arise in the course of spiritual practice: Ananda, bliss; Viveka, subtle clarity; Shunya, emptiness. If one becomes attached to bliss, does not recognize its empty nature, and cannot let it go in liberated awareness, they are reborn in the god realms of Kamaloka, with bodies composed of the fire element. If one transcends bliss, does not become intoxicated by it, but instead realizes its empty essence and natural state, the next temptation arises, the experience of clarity and omniscience at the conceptual mental level. Attachment to this clarity, without recognizing its empty essence, leads to rebirth in Rupalokas, from which, when merit is exhausted, return to earth is possible. There is a difference between playing with the energies of clarity through the natural state and being attached to clarity. Both the one attached to clarity and the one playing with it become gods of Rupaloka, but the first, having exhausted their merit, will be reborn, while the second ascends even higher, toward full liberation. The key difference lies in whether the empty essence of the natural state is recognized in the midst of clarity. Clarity here refers to the movement of mental images, subtle pranic flows, cognitive activity, deity visions, chakras, and fine experiences. Bliss is experienced through the Muladhara, Svadhisthana, Manipura, and partly Anahata chakras, while clarity is experienced through the Anahata, Vishuddha, and partly Ajna chakras. Attachment to these experiences leads to rebirths in realms corresponding to those chakras. Emptiness is experienced through the Ajna and Sahasrara, but attachment to the experiences of the upper chakras leads to rebirth in empty lokas. The key question is, has the yogi become attached to subtle experiences, or is self-liberation occurring? In self-liberation, energies transform into the play of the natural state, the energy of the manifestation of the natural awareness. In the case of attachment, the natural state is lost, and an eternalist view of these energies arises. Our future destiny depends on how we relate to these subtle illusions, whether we live in celestial realms forever in pursuit of enlightenment, or spend 500, 1,000, or 10,000 years in our own illusion, only to return to rebirth again. It is said that 7 heavenly days before reincarnation, the gods see the place of their future birth, and their hearts are filled with deep sorrow. Their garlands wither, divine power fades, other gods begin to avoid them. When they leave the divine body, they are given a farewell blessing. May you be reborn as a god again in your next life. Their divine attributes disappear. Thrones, siddhis, celestial seats. Gradually, the stream of their consciousness is drawn into the womb of a future human mother. This experience is far from joyful. It's like telling a very rich person used to luxury that they now have to move into a small apartment and start working for a living. Naturally, few would enjoy this, but such is the process of rebirth. As long as we are attached to life, we value relationships, comfort, conveniences. But from the perspective of rebirth, all of this is insignificant. Much more important is the accumulation of merit, development of clarity, purification of the stream of consciousness, and the cultivation of qualities that will be useful in future rebirths. Imagine you're preparing for an expedition to the Arctic or Antarctica. You'd need warm clothes, boots, food, and gear, but instead, you pack flip-flops, sunscreen, and a beach umbrella. These things won't save you in the cold. Similarly, accumulating wealth and seeking luxury is useless or even burdensome when it comes to rebirth. What really helps? Merit, asceticism, following yogic principles, control of desires, study of sacred texts, creating temples, deity images, offerings to higher dimensions. All of this becomes spiritual gear, useful in the journey of rebirth. Once you understand this, it becomes clear where to invest your energy, and you become selective in your actions. If something is unrelated to Dharma, ask yourself, is this meaningful? And let it go. Confidence in the benefit of wholesome actions and the futility of unwholesome ones helps to persist in practice, control desires, and undergo real transformation. The ignorant equate happiness with the material world, but happiness and matter are incompatible, like dryness and water. The material world can support practice or a life of service, but true happiness cannot be revealed within it. When you can't control the world with the power of your mind, it's not your mandala. The world turns into a mandala only within the pure dimension, when the natural state is fully realized. Once a saintly Siddha was approached by a woman asking to change the shape of her nose, which she found unattractive. She asked him to do so as a blessing if he had the power. The saint replied after consideration that only the one who created the nose could change it, and she should address her request to that creator. The material world is not governed by the power of mind, unlike mandalas of pure dimensions, unless and until we enter pure vision. The meaning of life here is to purify ourselves to the maximum, realize the level of contemplation available, and attain a higher rebirth. Then one can enter the category of celestial beings who can continue practice without loss of merit, progressing toward liberation. Such practice is conscious and leads to supreme holiness. Those with less awareness will be reborn again in the human world. They may choose a suitable family and destiny for favorable rebirth. With the right conditions for practice, a teacher, teachings, memories of past lives. It all depends on the depth of their practice and its imprint on consciousness. Those with even less awareness will experience unconscious rebirth, chosen at random, like a roulette. They may be born in Somalia in poverty, or in Europe, where it is hard to encounter the Dharma, or the soul may incarnate somewhere in India, in a Brahmin family, or in any family of yogic practitioners. Karmic reset is unpredictable. The highest class of practitioners are those who awaken in this very life, and by their own will, choose the realm, loka, in which they will exist. So, the paths are laid out before you. What is crucial? The seeds you are planting now determine the path you will walk. Everything else is of lesser importance. This is how a true yogi thinks. He discerns what contributes to the higher paths and what hinders them. A wise yogi reduces obstacles and increases the opportunities to follow the higher paths. When we practice, it can be difficult, but if we remember the reward that awaits, recalling the efforts of great saints and the austerities that lead to becoming celestial beings in the realm of Brahma, then the hardships no longer seem so great. Reminding ourselves of the fruits of effort helps us overcome our limitations, stay committed to practice, master our desires, and truly transform.